Hey all, Mark Robinson here, and welcome to the Modern Day Investor Podcast or YouTube channel, depending on what medium you like to watch or listen to me. So, as promised, I am going to go through the 4 P's, right, blueprint, which is going to help you guys start to build these foundations and creating this really good, solid base for you to build your financial freedom and then ultimately your financial independence. If you haven't already, please subscribe and like. That always helps with the algorithms, and we really want to help people, as many people as we can, to become educated so that they can get the confidence and the clarity for them to make their own financial decisions and be responsible with it. Now, I'm going to get in now. I'm going to be really upfront here, guys. There's potential that this episode may be split into 2 parts because I want to talk through the blueprint, the 4 Ps, but I also want to keep them really short and sharp, right? I don't want it to go to 20, 30, 40 minutes. So that could be the case, right? So if there is a cliffhanger at the end, I'm telling you right now, I know that's not the way to do it. Hollywood movies never do that. But I'm different to that. Yeah. So let's run through the 4 Ps, and it's really quite a simple process, right? And so I'll give you the first 4 now, which is how you need to prepare, protect, profit, and then prosper. And the key to them is definitely making sure, and that's the old plan, right? So let's run through the first one about preparing. Now, in that preparing, it covers already what a lot of it that we've already done, right? We spoke about the ultimate wealth acceleration plan, and you really need to make sure you get that done. The one part that I haven't really gone into detail as part of that UWAP, as we call it, is the financial house, and you've got to prepare it. Now, we believe that why would the universe give you more money when you're not managing the money you have, right? Now, God, Buddha, whatever you believe in, but why would they give you more money when you're not managing the money you have? And that's the concept behind the tab, the financial house tab. And it's just a checklist. And we built it in a way to give so that you just give yourself a score, right? Between 0 and 5. So there are questions on it, and again, I'll make sure my team has a link somewhere so you can download the phone's going off. Download the UWAP, right, the light one, so that you can actually start to get all this in place, guys. So there are questions on things like: do you actually know where all your assets and liabilities are? Do you know where all your income and expenses are? Do you know your financial independence spending plan? Do you have a wealth account? Is your current banking working for you? And you give yourself a score of between 0 and 5. Now, 0 means you have no idea or you haven't started that part of the financial house yet. And a 5 means you're all over it. It's completely done and you just need to review it on a regular basis. Yeah. And then somewhere in between, so you might, the assets and liabilities. Do you know where all your assets and liabilities are? If you kind of know, right, then you would put a 3 or a 4 or whatever. If you're just starting, it might be a 1 or a 2, and that's fine. But if it's not a 5, then next to it, there should be an action step. And you with the action step, you'll go, I will find where all my assets are, all my liabilities are by a certain date, right? So you might turn around and go, I'm doing this podcast on the 29th of September, 2023. So you might go, I will have know exactly where all my assets and liabilities are by the 15th of October, 2023. And we want you to be that specific, right? Because you need to make sure that you've got deadlines for this. Now, there could be, if it's something that's not overly urgent, right, it can actually be two months from now, 3 months from now, before you to get that completed. Yeah. But the key here is to then, once you've gone through and you know exactly what's required to build your financial house, then you actually go into your diary and you carve out time for you to get that stuff done. Because if it's not we truly believe if it's not in your diary, it's not important, and you generally will never get it done. Okay. So if you think about your financial house, right, remember the fairy tale about the three little pigs and the big bad wolf. So how do you want to build your financial house? Do you want to build it out of straw, sticks, or bricks, right? Because the big bad wolf can come at any time, and the stronger your financial house, right, the better position you are, right? And that goes also into that protect phase as well. How strong do you need your financial house to be? Now, and we'll save that for the next one, protect. Now, you also need to know where your starting point is, and I've spoken about that earlier. You need to know exactly where you are right now so that you can make decisions. And these are informed decisions on what type of opportunities you can go into. You also need to know where you are, right? So where you want to be. So, and like I said in earlier episodes, if you don't have a target, right, you can't fire an arrow and call whatever it hits the target, right? It just doesn't work that way. So most of you are already heading towards an income in the future. Yeah, you're on target for that. You just don't know what it is. Okay, so you want to get really clear on that. And that allows you to have these two data points so that you can then turn around and go, all right, well, this is where I want to be. This is where I am now. How can I build a portfolio that's going to allow you to get there as fast and as safe as possible? It's so simple, right? But it's critical as well at the same time. It's just two data points. The in-between stuff can happen as you start to allocate capital into the 6 asset classes that we described as well. The other part is preparing is to actually start to do some scenarios, right? You actually start to go, well, if my portfolio looked like this and it acted and achieved these types of returns, then this is what it can look like. And you allow to build that out, like you build it out over a 10-year period, right? And we also get you to, which I talk about in the profits section, right? You actually start to build out templates and different plans for the different asset classes. And this is where I truly believe most people fail, right? They have an overall plan, but they don't have these mini plans going depending on the asset class. Like you should be looking at going, I'm going to be investing in, Australian property, right? And it's going to be a buy and hold property, buy and hold strategy. But you should have a strategy behind that, right? The strategy should be laid out that I'm going to buy a property every 2 to 3 years, right? And they're going to be in this corridor or this type of property or, this type of postcode, so on and so on. Again, it's getting you really clear on what it is you're trying to achieve with your foundational asset or property strategy, buy and hold. Yeah, does that make sense? I hope it makes sense, right? And then you also need to look at things like your future vision. You start to want to in this prepare stage, you want to start getting your everything, right? You want to start getting your future vision done, which, look, I'm going to get an expert in to talk about it in season 2 to go real detail about it. But for the way I look at my future vision is I actually put myself in the future, right? And I start saying, hey, it's 2025 or it's 2030, whatever, however far you want to go in to the future. And I explain how well my wealth is going, my life is going, what I've been doing, the successes I've had over the last 5 years, so on and so on. And you start to build this energy, right? You start to build this belief system that it can actually happen. And it can seem so far off, right? But it's we're at that part of our life cycle that our kids are now adults, okay? They're out there exploring the world by themselves and doing certain things and stuff. And so, but I look at it and I swear to you that it feels like only yesterday that they were, born, and then they, kindergarten, and then, their first day of school, their last day of school, and those sort of things that, time creeps up on you, right? I don't want to sound too old right now, but it's, it can creep up on you. So, going 5 years into the future and just talking to yourself and writing it down and explaining to yourself like how well it's been, it brings in that energetic part of this whole concept, yeah. And it's important to understand that because we see it all the time, when you start to hit ceilings when your financial house isn't in order. So you've got to go through and go, what part of my financial house do I need to actually get ready? Yeah. And then we go into the next part, which is protect. And now the protect part has multiple factors around it. And things like, just the simple things like structures. Now, not every country in the world has or needs structures. And when I talk about structures, I talk about things like companies and trusts, self-managed super funds. You'll have SAPs and SIPs over in the UK way. You've got like 401ks and LLCs, limited liability companies, and trusts, and over in the States, right? Or self-directed IRAs, what have you. But it's about understanding that the wealthy use these tools for a reason. So you want to turn around and go, well, what structures are they using and how can I get involved? Yeah. There are legal structures out there, and I'm not an accountant, guys. All right, please understand that. Full disclaimer. We've owned accounting practice in the past, and we've got a share in accounting practice now. But for it's understanding what's out there, and there are legal structures in different jurisdictions where, as long as you apply the rules, right, that go with them, you can reduce your tax legally to zero. Yeah. But then when people hear that, they turn around and go, oh, I need to get into that straight away. And that's not always the case. Paying tax is a good thing. Just paying legally the minimum amount you have to is the better thing. Yeah. So please understand that. And if you haven't watched the famous Kerry Packer conversation with the government about minimizing tax and what have you, highly recommend watch it. He was an absolute legend and just hit the nail on the head. Yeah. So it is about looking to, protect yourself. But then in today's environment, right, in the modern day, the other things we have to look at is, are you protecting yourself online, from, cyber security, cyber fraud, if you're going to go into crypto, do you have have you got your wallet addresses secure? Are you using, things like Proton Mail and all these? And these are the sort of things that you don't have to have everything in place, right, to get started, right? But you always want to come back and build it, right? You want to make sure that as long as it's not doing something absolutely crazy that will affect your portfolio, right, you can start and then build backwards. Okay, so please understand that. But even other things, right, from a protection standpoint is, who are you talking to, right? And what I mean by that is sometimes we share things with the wrong people, right? And that's, like your future vision, like your goals, your wealth goals, your how you want to make an impact on the world or whatever. So, Billy always talks about beware the share. Hey, I'm going to lose 20 kilos in the next 10 weeks or so. If you share that with the wrong person, they, intentionally or sometimes unintentionally, they may derail whatever it is you're trying to achieve. Yeah. And so you've got to beware the share. And that's part of that protection side of things. And one of the key things as well is protecting that energy. Right. Again, consciously or subconsciously, we do have people in our lives that just rip the energy out of us, so we don't have anything left for ourselves, right, and our family and what have you. So always beware to share. Beware. Start having a look of who's actually, around you. Are they helping or hindering your success? That's the stuff we've got to look at, guys, and. It's really important to understand that. So I am going to leave it there, guys. I'm going to leave it there. That is part one, okay, of the Modern Day Investor, talking about the 4P blueprint, and it's about prepare and protect. In the second part, guys, we're going to talk about, what we need to do to start the profit part, and then talk about prosper, right? So you can profit and not prosper. How do we build that bigger life, that legacy? How do we actually, start to make an impact with people, if you choose to, right? I want to be really clear on that. One of my favorite sayings is from a guy called Ted Turner, right? From AOL fame, right? Or Turner Brosnan, the massive media guy, right? Hence the quote. But he basically says, everybody has a purpose in life. Maybe yours is watching TV. And I always liked that, right? And the reason why I did is because it took the pressure off me to me, it felt like it took the pressure off me to having to help everybody, to have to change the world, so on and so on. And what we did then is we made a decision to, look to help 150 family units to become financially free and financially independent. And we've moved, to that goal to be bigger. But we don't want to get it to, that old saying of, you need these big, hairy, audacious goals. I actually don't believe that. To become successful, I just generally believe you need a plan. The plan's got to work for you. You've got to get your investment portfolio to do what you want it to do so that you can live your life your way, right? And then you can start to build your life your way. So in part 2, guys, I'm going to go more into the profit and protect. See you then. Bye for now. None of this is advice, not even general advice. This is for entertainment purposes and education only. If you'd like to seek specific advice to your personal circumstances, we urge you to speak to a licensed financial professional.